Hello, everybody. I'm Brandon, and I'm here with ultra distance paddling extraordinaire Bobby Johnson.
Aren't we going to do it? Aren't we going to call it ultra paddling from now on? So ultra
Not
distance
ultra
paddling?
distance,
Just
ultra paddling.
Ultra running, ultra paddling.
Okay, ultra pad. Hello, everyone. I'm here with ultra paddling. Got it. Okay, so we're here today to talk about the Alabama 650 that you just completed. And we'll get into details of that. But first, I wanted to take a couple of steps back and talk a little bit about how you got into paddling and how you got into ultra paddling specifically. I mean, what drew you to it?
Okay. I didn't think we were going to go back this far. I was looking for something new. That's what I was doing. I moved to Dunedin. It was in Clearwater. Started looking for something new. Lived by the causeway, a couple miles from my house. Started going out there, thinking about what I could do on the water instead of bicycling. Usually I'm biking.
Okay.
And I wanted to get into some kind of distance with it. Something. I wasn't really sure what I was looking for, but I was next to the water, so I wanted it. Checked out a couple different boats, but then I saw guys paddling these boats in a storm one day off the causeway, and it wasn't your normal storm. I mean, it was disgusting outside.
Okay.
But they were moving against the wind at a rapid pace. So I waited for them to come in, saw their boats. Turns out they were epic boats, epic surf skis.
Okay.
And I talked to them for a minute, and I decided, well, that's what I'm going to look for because I was shocked. So I found one used, and within 2 weeks, and thinking I was actually fast, I signed up for a race. 2 weeks later after that. So.
And that race was
An 8-mile race called the Shark Bite Challenge.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my time frame might be off a little bit, but not much.
Sure.
I thought, I'm pretty fast at this, I got endurance. Let me just try it. And the first time I took that boat out, I got my ass handed to me. Like I almost drowned. They were enormous waves coming off the northern point of Honeymoon Island.
Okay.
And when I came around that corner from that protected bay and hit those waves, it was a rude awakening. I was thrown, tossed, beat, ingesting salt water, it was bad. And I was able to get the boat somehow. I knew I still had to ride I had a V8.
Okay, I was going to ask.
That's what I bought.
Okay, all right.
It wasn't a kayak.
Yeah, and that's usually the more stable.
It's a very stable boat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a beginner's ski is what it is.
Okay.
So, anyways, somehow I was able to ride this big wave. Now, to me, it was one of the biggest waves I've ever seen. I've ridden some bigger waves since then, but not very many. So, we are on the west coast of Florida. We don't get that big of waves. We're not East Coast or Pacific. But anyways, I was able to ride a wave in. I remember just thinking, thank God.
Thank God I didn't drown, or thank God it's over.
Thank God it's over. I ended up climbing through mangroves, that you weren't really supposed to climb through to get back to the protected bay, and paddle my,
Okay, all right.
humble ass home. So, anyways, I signed up for Shark Bite Challenge. Unfortunately, it actually didn't happen. We had 17 knot winds that day. I remember driving out it was on Honeymoon Island. I was driving out the causeway and I'm thinking, wow, it's really, really rough out here. Are they really going to put this on? But I didn't know who else. I didn't know what to expect.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
When I pulled out there, there's people from all the United States for this race. It's a big deal. Even though it's only an 8-mile race, they do an 8-mile race, a 4-mile race, and then they do a Waterman's Challenge where they combine both races. You do a 4-mile and an 8-mile on different craft.
Okay.
Which is really cool. And there's some serious people there. Epic brings their top guys.
Okay.
So anyways, it ends up the sheriff canceled the race. They're like, no way, you guys are going to drown. People were very upset. However, they can't keep you off the water, so everybody just got in their boats and paddled. And it was some of the nicest waves I've ever seen in my life hitting Honeymoon Island that day. They're just perfect waves. Anyways, the reason the Shark Bite was so influential to me is because it was this group of people that were awesome. There was just this. They're different from all the done the bike rides to Tampa, or from Tampa to across the state. You know, I don't know. Not my cup of
Different,
tea.
yeah,
You know, I love
sure.
the bike ride, but the people weren't that great. This, however, you know, that beach lifestyle, that water lifestyle, I was hooked. So I immediately went. I thought, well, what about distance? You know, let's find out what they have out there for distance. So I looked at a 1,200-mile race around Florida called the Ultimate Florida Challenge.
Okay.
Which my wife Carrie said, you know, can you find something shorter for your first race?
Right, sure. From 8 to 1,200 miles. That's
Right. Yeah.
It's a stepping stone.
Yeah, with a 40-mile portage. That's a fun part of the race. Anyways, so I went back on the website and I found a 300-mile race that starts in our backyard, and then from Tampa to Key Largo.
Yeah, look, honey, it's so much shorter.
I didn't say, look, honey, I just I paid for it. I signed up, and then I told her after that.
Okay.
I found it. I signed up for it. I'm good to go.
Right. I'm committed now.
So yeah, so that was my. I wouldn't call it a race. They don't call that a race. They call it a challenge. It's called the Everglades Challenge. People obviously race it because that's we're just humans. But the first year, I just wanted to do it. Can I actually complete it? Can I paddle 300 miles? And I always thought. The reason I actually even looked into a 300-mile challenge because, you know, growing up riding my bike I bought my first bike, like truly bought my first bike when I was in high school, like by myself. My dad didn't buy it for me for Christmas. And I would ride from Clearwater to Tarpon Springs every day. And I was fast, really fast. At least I thought I was really fast.
Sure, you felt fast.
I passed everybody, but hey. Then I got into a couple mountain bike races and I realized real quick, you know, how slow I actually was. But anyways, it still didn't deter me. So I always thought I had some good endurance. So that's what brought me to the Everglades Challenge, moving to Dunedin, buying this Epic. So that's when I bought an Epic 18X kayak, because you have to have that for the race. So you can't do it in surf ski. Actually, there are people that do it in surf ski. I'm not really sure how they bring everything with them, but whatever.
Okay.
Here or there. I did it.
And what year was that?
7 years ago, 2017, I think.
17. So
They said it was one of the roughest years they've seen, and I thought that wasn't that bad. There was some bad parts, but overall I thought that wasn't that bad. And I remember coming into the finish, the wind had died down. It was so hot. It was baking hot, and I thought, I don't want this to be over with. Like, I was actually
having too much fun.
dreading finishing it, even though my wife and daughter were waiting at the beach, and I couldn't wait to see them, but that whole adventure of it is like, I don't want to stop.
Wow.
So yeah, that was my first experience.
And so the Shark Bike Challenge was also in 2017, or was that a year prior maybe?
So that was the year prior. It was
Okay.
2016, because 2016 it's in April, I believe, is the Shark Bike Challenge, and then that didn't go off, so looked into something else, and then March the following years. So I had almost a year to train for the Everglades Challenge.
Okay.
Thankfully.
But so you went from 0 to Shark Bite that wasn't, but you still did it anyway with the group, to the 300-mile Everglades Challenge, because 1,200 was just a little bit too long for your first go.
According to my wife.
According to your wife.
But I agreed pretty easily.
But then, so 1 year later, 2 years later, that was 2017. Yeah, so 2019 is when you first raced the Alabama 650.
Correct. Yeah.
And that was the very first year, the inaugural.
Yes.
So how'd you find out about that?
Well, there's a lot of what's happened between then and there. So.
Sure.
I mean, I've done 3 Everglades challenges by then. I've gotten pretty good at them. Not great, but good. Won a couple Swanee 230s, set records on them in the race. I think I did something in the Missouri River, I want to say. So I started to get to know people.
Sure.
And then once you start to get to know people, they start telling you things, and then this is coming. Rod Price was probably the main reason why I hear things, because Rod Price is just in the know of everything.
And he's the race director of the Swanee 230.
Yeah. We've become really good friends.
And just sort of paddler extraordinaire.
Absolutely.
Also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I did the Everglades Challenge with him 1 year also. So, and that might have been before the Alabama 650. It might have been. I'm not positive.
Okay.
So, So yeah, that's how I heard about it. There's
Yep.
this race in Alabama. It's gonna be 650 miles. I think you should do it. Okay.
So that first year there were 3 finishers.
3.
Is that right? How many starters do you remember?
Not many. Maybe around a dozen.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so before that race, your longest race was, or event was 300 for the Everglades Challenge?
Yep.
Okay. So, and so since then, you've done the Alabama 650 every year.
Yes.
So 5 years running.
I've done the Everglades Challenge every single year and the Alabama 650 every year.
Okay.
Not,
So-
not the Swanee.
So I'm curious that, so for the 650, how does, I mean, so you just finished this in early October this year, but how does this year compare to the first year? I mean, what's that progression? We were talking before we started recording about your finishing times. I think your first year finishing time was a little over 7 days, but then you kind of got to this point where just over 6 hours was, I think you did that 3 different times.
Just over 6 days.
Or just over 6 days,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. When you showed me the sheet earlier, I was shocked at how close my times were every year, except for the first year and the third year, obviously. But the reason it's 7 days, 8 hours on the first year,
Yep, I think that's right.
there was zero current, maybe a little bit here and there,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the temperature was terrible. Terrible. Like I felt like I almost died, like legit.
Just too hot, too humid.
Yeah, I got a heat exhaustion in the first 9 miles of the race, and I've never experienced that before in my
Okay.
life. I didn't even know what was actually happening to me.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So, I mean, so you did 300 miles in open water, but now you're doing 650 miles on a river. And yes, you've had lots of other races in between, but how did you prepare for that in 2019 versus how are you preparing for the races since then? I mean, obviously you learn a lot.
It's a big difference, okay? In the beginning, I was really hungry, and I was nervous, and I was, worried about, can I go 650 miles? Because, until you do something or see somebody do it,
Yeah, you have no idea.
there's all
Sure.
those questions, I mean, 650 miles is not the limit. 1,000 miles is not the limit. 2,000 miles is not the limit. I've learned this by now. It's like, who knows how far we can actually paddle. I'd like to just figure it out all one day. The first year I trained my butt off. When I got to that finish line, or that start line, I was really fit. I mean, I was mentally and physically ready to destroy anybody that got in my way or anything that got in my way. And then the first 9 miles, I had to get out of my kayak and go swimming. And it was a real mental bomb that went off in my head because,
Okay.
I'm like the favored person to win.
And again, this is year one.
This is year
2019.
one. It's a big
Yeah, right,
deal. I
right,
mean,
right.
it's
Everybody's watching Bobby.
Greg puts on a show. He's got all the people there from from authority, from the government, people that work for the governor, all the way down. Everybody's just like there, and he's making
Yeah, it's a big deal in the
It's
state.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And then everything's online, and people are betting on you, and people are watching you. So it's like you're like, whoa, this is different. It's not like your other races. And then that when you leave the start line in 9 miles, you're going to see every single person that you just left.
Okay.
And they're all
okay.
expecting you to be there, right?
Sure.
And you're expecting to be there. And then all of a sudden, 6 miles in, you're like, I'm like, what is going on with me? And I've never experienced it before, but if you've ever had heat exhaustion, all energy's gone. And you just don't move. Your boat, get in the water. Luckily, it's cool water there. And I've got everybody's past me. Boom, boom. People with plastic kayaks. The first year, there was some pretty, some poor choices in who was starting that race. I mean, I saw a guy load up a Walmart kayak with, 100 pounds of gear to go 9 miles. I remember saying to him, hey man, you're going to portage that boat in 9 miles. Why are you bringing all the gear with you? Because you have to have a support group. Anyways, so for everybody to pass you, and then you feel like you're in just like this physical, specimen ready to go because you've been training so hard. And
Yep, sure.
Within 6 miles, you got 640 miles to go. It's like, whoa. Then you get back on your boat and you lick your wounds and you paddle the 9 miles, but I'm so messed up. when I remember when I got there, you know, you try to put on this face, you know, you're like, yeah, like, I remember my crew looked at me, like, my buddy Gordon at the time, he's like,
what happened to you?
yo, you okay, man? Like, it was bad. I couldn't carry the boat, couldn't do anything. So anyways.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah. And it took a long time for me to get back going. And then when I finally got back going, I went downhill really hard that first year. Like an icy hot problem, like where I had my muscles were hurting, so my crew put icy hot all over me. Well, that's a real bad idea in Alabama heat.
Yeah, familiar.
And the problem is, you know, it's not like I am thinking clearly. You know, I've been paddling this is Selma, so we're over halfway through the race. If it's been heat, the only time you can paddle fast is at night because it's the only time it's cool. And at night, you're only wearing a pair of shorts. You have nothing else on. No shoes, no nothing.
Sure.
It's so freaking hot.
Yeah, bring your core temperature down.
During the day, you're paddling right up in the shade under the trees. You know, so you're in super shallow waters because you gotta stay out of the sun. And that's how it was in Alabama.
Okay.
Following years, no, the heat wasn't like that. So you can see the times are going down. And a couple of those years, the water was pretty decent.
Okay.
But it's funny looking at these times. And, you know, the first year is 7 days, 8 hours. The second year is 6 days, 3 hours.
Right.
And then Rod and I did it together, so that really doesn't count. Then it goes to the fourth year, 6 days, 6 hours. We're talking 3 hours difference. And then this year, 6
just
days,
a little
5
faster.
hours.
Yeah.
We're talking 2 hours difference. If I think about everything that happens to me on these races, and for it to be that close, and I never knew that really messes with my head. Because the amount of stuff that you go through mentally and physically over 650 miles times 5 or times 4 solo.
Sure.
You know, between the people you're racing, between the conditions you're in. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's that close.
Well, so you had all these firsts during year 1, and you learned a bunch of stuff, but then you come back for year 2, year 3, but now you've done it 5 years running. What was it like? I was going to say towing the starting line, but you don't really tow it. You sort of nose up to the starting line, bow up to the starting line. How did you feel going into this year's race? What was your plan? Was there a plan?
So the more I race, I've been doing it for 7 years now. The more I race, the more I've won. The more you win, the more the target gets put on you.
Sure.
The more you're up here and everybody wants to push you off. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like showing up to these race start lines and I'm not really even training. It sounds messed up, but I'm not. You know, I'm not taking care of myself. Like, I'm doing stupid things that you should not do.
Well, and so timeline-wise, taking half a step back, not a month prior to this.
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks. You're talking about the Swanee.
Yeah, so
I did not know it was 2 weeks difference until
because
Greg told me.
Something like September 21st or 20 whatever was the start of the Alabama 650 this year. But somewhere around I should remember, I was there myself.
When we finished that race, Greg was the support group, my support group.
Yes.
Well, it was yours too.
Yep, and he's also the director.
When he said bye, he said, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And I said, for what? He's like, the Alabama 650. I was like, oh my goodness.
So, and you know, so obviously I was there too at the Sewanee 230, and you on a paddleboard, 233 miles or whatever it is. I mean, you absolutely crushed that. But at the same time, I mean, I think you'll admit you thrashed yourself. I mean, you really.
I don't believe that. Everybody's telling me this stuff, maybe to try to make me feel better about losing. But I don't actually think so. I think it's because maybe. You know, I did the Everglades Challenge. Let's just back up. I did the Everglades Challenge this year.
Mm-hmm.
I did no training for the Everglades Challenge. I say no. I mean, I did maybe a couple of paddles. Everglades Challenge is a big deal. To me, at least. To a lot of other people.
Sure.
And it's a really hard race. I set the fastest solo time ever on the Everglades Challenge, and I didn't train. That messes with your head a bit. It just in a stupid way, at least for me. I mean, when you're going into these races, you should give them these races the respect they deserve.
Sure.
Meaning, I should go in peak physical condition like most other people do. But yet, I haven't been. and it's stupid to do these things. Well, it's stupid to approach these races like this. And I don't know why. I'm trying to figure this out in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it that's making me go into these races? The last race I truly trained for was the last power standing.
Yeah, okay.
I came off the Alabama 650 and I immediately started doing three hard training sessions per day for a straight month. When I got in that paddleboard, the last power standing, I was in really good shape, mentally and physically.
Yeah, you felt ready.
I felt ready. And then for some reason, knowing that the Everglades Challenge is coming up, and my ultimate goal for the Everglades Challenge has always been to be the fastest solo person to ever paddle. Actually, to be the fastest paddle boat to ever do it.
Yeah.
Period. And 1 hour off that. And I wish I would have known I was going to be 1 hour off. Maybe I just pushed a little bit harder. But maybe that would have been a bad thing also, because I could have, who knows? You can't go back in time.
Right.
Doesn't matter. All I want to know now I just want to look forward. And I'm hoping from here to there, I'm going to train extremely hard instead of not training like I did this year.
Well, I guess so. Let me ask you this. So, do you think? And again, not to go too far off on this tangent.
Sure.
So when you,
it's why I'm going so far, because it's really messing with my brain, and so it's hard
I
not
can
to.
Imagine.
It's hard not to like think and spit these things out.
So okay, so you've got this, maybe a habit, if we want to call it, or just a process of not having a process for some of these races. You've got all these paddle strokes in your body. You feel like you're ready. Just get me on the boat. I'm going to go.
It's paid off in a lot of races.
Sure.
Absolutely.
But so then for this year, this Alabama 650, did you feel that same level of I'm ready, confident?
No and yes. There's that push and pull.
Okay.
Meaning not meaning. The reason I say no and yes is because I just kept telling myself, when the paddle meets the water, everything will be fine.
Okay, yeah, just get me started.
Just get me started. I'm always a slow starter, and then I come to life somehow. So, but this year when I started paddling, I realized that wasn't the case.
Okay.
I had issues. There's no doubt about it. I felt them. I was with the lead pack. I mean, I ran with them across the 9 miles. I don't remember. I maybe came out of the water maybe third. I'm not really sure. Somewhere around, between 1 and 4. I'm sorry, between 2 and 3.
Right in there.
Yeah, and I always say that whoever crosses that 9 miles, that determines your leaders, literally for the rest of the race.
Okay.
That's happened every single time almost. Well, maybe not the first year, because the girls who won it, Susan and Ryan, won their class. I mean, I don't think they came in for maybe a day or two after us. So, and they didn't. They were, they're not at Sally and speed.
Sure.
Good paddlers, strong paddlers.
Yeah.
Different speeds.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that other than that year, it's those first boats that get across that, the first 4 or 5 positions are always 1 through 5 every time to finish.
So at what point then did you start to have inklings that?
Once I got over that portage.
Okay.
So from that 9 miles down to the next portage, which is another 60 miles of paddling, I had good energy, as I could stay at a consistent speed, but if I needed to challenge somebody, I couldn't do it.
Okay.
If I tried, I would instantly just draw my energy, and it would be hard to get back to my normal pace.
Okay.
So I decided against it, and I just said, you know what, just keep paddling. It'll come. That's what I was hoping for, and it did. It paid off. I mean, I stuck with everybody for a long time. I just had some times where it really hurt. Meaning, it really hurt me in time. So, because I wasn't going anywhere.
Okay. Well, so I mean, looking back on it now, what do you think it was?
It's probably training.
Yeah, just training.
Yeah, but okay, hold on a second. I've had a lot of time to think about
Sure.
this. I do not like losing, period. But it's also, I remember talking to my wife on the race during the race, and I'm like, there was a time where I was coming up on checkpoint 2, which is 420 miles into the race at Miller's Ferry. I had 30 miles left to go to that checkpoint, and it took me 12 hours to complete it. It wasn't windy. The water was fine. It was, my body would not allow me to go there. I was trying.
I remember at one point during the race, I texted you. You texted me back saying something like, "My body just won't do what my brain is telling it to do."
And
so there was a disconnect there that you could not reconnect.
Yes.
It took a long time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Maybe probably the second night in, just after Montgomery, Trey come up on me, and which was great because it's just nothing like paddling with people. Yeah, and he's a great guy to paddle with, and because you can talk. Miles go by really fast when you're talking to people.
Sure.
But I had the hardest time keeping up with this guy. I mean, we weren't going fast. He wasn't going fast. He wasn't trying to race me. We're just paddling. And I just kept saying, man, I knew there was an issue. I just didn't know what it was. We had a good pace. I stayed with them. But that was when we separated. And that was probably my first mistake. I had my crew coming up. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to keep on going. And I'm like, well, I'm going to stop and sleep. I need a couple hours sleep. But I didn't have to. And that's the thing about the Alabama 650. It's your choice. You do not have to sleep. Or you don't have to continue to paddle. It's up to you.
Right. Okay.
So I made that choice to go to sleep because I just felt like I needed it and let him go. And I thought, I'll get him. I really wasn't worried about just then. We were only 240 miles into the race,
Sure.
It's always in the back of your mind. You're always thinking about it. Let's go back to what I'm thinking about before I start these races. Well, I'm coming in as the top guy in these races. Like, I win it every single year. I do it solo. Okay. Everybody wants to beat me. I have to hold that position. And in my mind, if I don't hold that position, I'm failing. You know what I mean? And I'm failing them, which I really shouldn't think like that. But it's hard not to. You know what I mean? It's nice to be up here and not down here. It's nice.
So I'm curious. So what's been your typical mental process? Like when you start to go off the rails? Do you get negative and blame yourself? Do you start blaming your equipment? I mean, what's typical as you go through kind of that?
Never equipment.
Never equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's never equipment. I mean, of course it's ever. I mean,
sure.
You don't even know what to blame it on. You know what I mean? When you get into, I think what you're talking about is when you really go downhill. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, when it's coming off the rails.
Yeah, coming off the rails, man.
Some people they go into the blame game. Some people they go.
It's always okay. My wife always says one thing: you're the hardest. You're the hardest person to please. I mean, I'm always trying to please myself. I'm the hardest one on myself at all times. No one's harder than anybody other than me.
Sure.
On myself. So yes, there's no one else to blame it on. It's like golf. You're the one hitting the ball. That's what I love about this sport. You're the one paddling.
Right.
You can't blame anybody else. Maybe if your crew quit and leaves you abandoned, okay.
Then
only way.
Yep. Right.
But that doesn't happen. I always have a good crew, and I always prepare a little bit to where my crew doesn't get to me. I'm okay to get the next 30 or 60 miles down the road. I'll be fine.
Sure.
So yes, it always goes on yourself. And yes, I've had some serious freak out sessions on myself, like mentally just, I'm really hard on myself, and not to mention, I could be hallucinating at that time. There could be a lot of stuff going on, it's hard to say. It all depends on what freak out session we're talking about here. So on this river, I had some serious freak out sessions. That when it took me 12 hours.
I was going to ask, I lost.
Was
that the worst?
No.
Okay.
No, the worst is at the end.
Okay. All right.
I really threw down the honest bug to myself, or not the honest bug, but I looked in the mirror and you deserve this. You deserve the way you're feeling right now. You deserve that you're not going anywhere. You're the one that's not training. You're the one that's not taking care of yourself. Staying up late at night, having a few extra drinks, whatever it is. You're the problem. Nobody else. So it's your fault that you're sitting here in this boat and you're not moving and you suck right now. And everybody, that means these 3 boats are all in front of you.
Yeah.
And they're gaining ground.
Sure.
And it's like you put yourself in this position almost every single year. And I didn't do it last year, but I did this year and a couple other years where it's like.
So we'll talk about toward the end in a moment.
Sure.
But so you get off. So this is checkpoint 2. You said you get off and you have a couple hour rest.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of in the mental pain cave, physical too. But what do you tell yourself to get back in the boat and keep paddling down the river?
Okay, well, so I remember telling my crew, like, hey, I'll be there in a minute. I'm not doing good. We're like, yeah, we know you're not doing good. You're taking forever. And I come in, and then there's like some people there. Not many people, just more like the checkpoint captain.
This is nighttime or?
This is daytime.
Daytime.
Which
Okay.
that helps. Because it kind of wakes you back up a little bit. It has been daytime for a while now. So, and here's the thing. When you're doing really, really bad, and it's happening when the sun's going out, or when the sun is out, you're doing really, really bad. Because the sun, it energizes you.
Sure.
It does.
Yeah.
At nighttime, okay, that's
the long dark
could be a
night
little
seems
bit
like it's
different.
gonna last
Yeah,
forever.
it's almost like it's a kind of expected sometimes, but 90% of my problems happen at night, not during the day.
Okay.
So, anyway, I come in. There's some people there, and the portage is like 10, 15 miles down the road to the drop in the river. I said, load the boat now. I don't want to talk to anybody. I need to get in the car. I want to get out of here. So we get down to the portage, and when we get there, there's just this older guy, really cool dude. He's always there, just lives in the area, loves the race, loves fishing, just a cool guy. Talking to him, and then Greg and like the whole race crew.
Showing up.
Yeah, all the volunteers and everybody that works the race just shows up, and it's like you're just bombarded by all this positive energy. And it's just I'm sponging it up. And that's the wild thing, man. I went from absolute misery. I don't want to do this. I had to finally tell myself. Let me explain something first. When I'm at 12-mile section, I had to finally. I came into this kind of peace with myself. Okay, this is your 5th time doing this race. Everybody's ahead of you. You're not going anywhere. Something's not right. Whether you didn't train enough, whether your nutrition's wrong, whether you did the Swanee 230 2 weeks ago, whatever it is, you're not right. Is it worth mentally beating yourself to death? Or do you just do the best you can do and try to enjoy the rest of the river? And whatever happens, happens. And I calm myself down to paddle into that checkpoint.
Okay.
And 10 minutes later, as I've calmed myself down pretty good, and I said to myself, well, you're lying to yourself. That's not you. You don't calmly paddle down a river. You don't let 3 racers stay ahead of you, knowing that this is your 5th and final, Alabama 650, and you want to be number 1, not number 4. So you can say to yourself you're going to enjoy it all you want, but that's going to end. Mm-hmm. It already ended.
Sure.
10 minutes later.
Yeah.
But I felt better. So, anyways, I come in and I'm a mess, and I see all of them. I feel this energy, and the guy that was there, the spectator, he's like, they just released the dam. He's like, you're gonna float. He's like, and then they just did it, meaning that all those people ahead of you
Had to paddle all those miles
without it,
without-
and
yep.
they won't see it for probably 3-4 hours.
Sure.
And I thought, oh, this is amazing. You know, just a break. I got a
Yeah,
break.
sure.
You
Time
know,
break.
went from crap to good. You know, and I said, they're like, hey, we need to. I told them to put the 18X kayak in, and they're like, you know, and I had, you're allowed to switch boats. I have an 18X kayak and I have my V9 surf ski. V9 surf ski is lighter, it's faster. It's probably 20 pounds lighter and it's faster. But, you know, just a mess. I'm like, you know, just put the 18X in, man. I just want to get out there and I want to relax and I want to go. And I'm fast in the 18X. You know, it's obviously not as fast as the V9, but it's still fast.
Yeah.
And I get in the water and I take off and I got my music playing and I feel amazing.
Rejuvenated.
Oh my gosh. And I'm flying. But it hits me. Okay. I can go faster than a V9. So I instantly call my crew and I know there's a bridge like 9 miles up the river. I said, be there, V9 in the boat, in the water, get it ready. They're like, great. They're excited, you know. I'm back in the
Bobby's back.
Yeah, let's
Yep.
go.
Okay.
Get in the V9, man, and I just dropped it. Damn. I dropped the hammer. I'm flying.
Okay.
Absolutely flying.
Now, do you think you were sufficiently hydrated and you had enough electrolytes? And
No,
calories
and the reason
on? Okay.
So I drink Infinite Nutrition, and you're supposed to just drink Infinite Nutrition almost the entire time. Maybe add a sandwich in once a day or whatever.
Sure.
Well, I was kind of getting sick of it. Yeah, it just wasn't liking taste. I kept getting bottles of water. And this could be the start of my downfall. Also, maybe I don't know. I really, you know, I know nutrition had played a part in it. Doing amateur moves, and I thought, you know, it might hurt me, but the water was just tasting so good over the Infinite. You know, I was still drinking it, but I wasn't drinking like I was supposed to.
Sure.
And I was eating some food, and I find that, like, if I eat lighter, I can stay awake better.
Okay.
So that's where the Infinite comes in. You're drinking nutrition instead of eating nutrition. It's been a game changer for years. You can stay awake.
Sure.
Because the last thing you want to do is be sleep in your boat. So I mean, overall, I thought my nutrition and hydration was good, and I was taking salt pills, and I wasn't getting cramps. So if you're not getting cramps, you know your electrolytes should be fine.
But so then you meet your crew and you do switch boats?
Oh yeah, switch.
Okay.
And now we're flying.
Okay.
So now I believe it's Claiborne we're coming up to, which is the final portage. And then after that, it's home free. So I end up catching the tandem crew, Matt and Miles.
Yep. Okay.
Which I know them, and paddle with them, and pull over, hang out with Matt's wife and her friend and her father. And so have a good old time, man. Got a campfire going on the side of the river. It's beautiful. It's a nice little break, you know.
Sure.
Get some dry clothes on. Like, okay, get me back in the water. It's funny. While we were sitting there, he had just killed a rattlesnake that his daughter was about to pee on. Right? This happened right before I got there.
Okay.
And then, as I was about to go get back in my boat, my crew walks over. I mean, it's right next to us. There's some grass in my boat, right there. Walks over to the grass to get something to the boat, and then this big gator just explodes out of the grass and into the water. It's like, where did this thing even come from?
Right.
I mean, they came up while we were hanging out.
Sure.
At some point in time. So, and then I had another encounter with a gator, probably like 5 miles later. You know, I ended up going up and talking to Matt and Miles, and I said, "Hey guys, wake up!" Like I knew they were getting up. I'm like, "Let's paddle together." You know, like I'm feeling great. I'm having fun again.
Yeah.
You know, they're quick. Like, boom, we'll knock out some miles together, and let's run the people down in front of us. You know, work as a team. Let's go. And but they were taking too long. I'm in race now.
Yeah, you're feeling good. Race
great.
mode's back.
I'm like, they'll catch me. I'm gone. I
Yep.
take off. Well, they never did catch me. I get to Claiborne, and when I get to Claiborne, it's a 30-minute portage time, so it's mandatory. So I thought, you know, I'm gonna hang out. I'll do my 30 minutes. I'll lay down in the van, and when Miles and Matt get here, when it's time for them, we're gonna go together, and we're gonna work together as a team, and we're gonna run those people down.
Okay.
I thought that was gonna happen. So we did end up I ended up waking up and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like, it's been like it's 2 hours later. Well, they're there, but I don't know. They were having problems.
Okay.
You know, one wasn't wanting to continue. There was a lot of procrastination going on. So finally, I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know, so we ended up going together after this, and I paddled them for probably about 40 or 50 miles, and then they just couldn't keep up anymore.
Okay.
I was going. So, and it started looking good.
So I mean, you really had a long period of Bobby's back, race form,
Feeling good,
feeling groovy. But then you mentioned that first big 12-hour suck fest was not the tough one. The tough one was yet to come when you got to Mobile Bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. I mean, how was that second big transition into?
Okay, so when it was daytime when I was paddling with those guys, we left right when the sun wasn't up yet. So we got a 30-mile run until you see your crew, and then 30 miles later at Dixie Landing, and I beat them at Dixie Landing. So I left, and I got another 30 miles to go to some boat ramp. But by the time you get to the boat ramp, now you're in the Delta. Like,
okay.
Now it's serious. Okay, like you got 80 miles left, maybe 85.
Okay.
That's not a long time. Might sound like a long time, but it's not. Not when when someone's got 20 miles on you, 10 miles on you, or 5 miles on you. It's not a long time. So we get to the boat ramp, hang out, get some dry clothes on, eat some food. I'm out of there. And this is when you're going to cross from one side of Mobile Bay, the west side of Mobile Bay, basically run down, and you're on the east side of Mobile Bay.
Okay.
And the next stop is another boat ramp with a restaurant. So when I get there, there's Sally O'Donnell. Okay, now it's always been Sally O'Donnell every year. So there she is, and she's sleeping. Well, I know I should go to sleep because I was just sleeping out in the bay a mile away from them. Like,
okay.
I literally woke up in my boat. Like, oh my gosh.
What just happened?
Yeah, and it was one of those moments too,
okay.
Because there was like a boat out there that looked like a car.
Is it daytime, right?
No, this is nighttime.
Nighttime. Okay.
Now we've gone back into the nighttime.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
So when I get to that boat ramp, we're talking. It's probably midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning, somewhere in there.
And this is firmly 5 days in at this point.
Oh yeah, 5 days.
Yeah.
So I've got 15 miles to get to I-10. Right now, Trey is he's like 12 miles ahead of me.
Okay.
Right around that.
I'm remembering the dots.
So I'm starting to close.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm shaving.
I remember this. Yeah.
And I think, okay, I am not stopping. Like, I knew I needed to go to sleep. I said, there's no way I'm going to stop. And they're handing me food, like, you need to eat this sandwich. I'm like, I'm not hungry. I'm like, you know what? Let me eat this sandwich. And so I ate like 3/4 of a Subway sandwich. They should have slammed that other quarter into my mouth. You know, not their fault. You know, they think you got to remember. These are my nephews are working with me. They've crewed for me before. They've never seen me lose a race.
Yeah.
You know, and
Bobby knows best.
Maybe, you know, and it's maybe, but sometimes they shove things on me. But
sure.
And they assumed that I was drinking the Infinite the whole time.
But you had switched to water mostly.
But they would always put my boat. A lot of times what I do is I would just dump it out because I didn't want to wait, and I would drink a bottle of water.
Okay.
So they didn't know. So, and I wasn't telling them, okay,
sure.
I dumped it out.
Okay, all right.
No, I wasn't trying to hide anything. Let's just put it this way. And you've experienced this, I'm sure, because you've done a race, so, or you've done a few of them. When you're coming into your crew, you have like a list of things that you want to talk to them about, right?
Yeah.
Like 3 top things you want to talk to them about. When you get into that crew, there's the 3 things over here. Here's everything else. You're just telling them everything else. You leave, there's the 3 things that are still with your brain. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I needed to ask them about.
And not even ask them. Those are important things.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
Something I needed, something I wanted. So anyway, that doesn't happen all the time, but it happens a lot. So maybe I shouldn't hey, I'm not drinking Infinite, but I just didn't say. But I was drinking some of there's 2 different Infinites I have. There's a Go Far and there's jet fuel. And I was drinking some of the jet fuel because it's got caffeine in it. I love caffeine. So I was kind of living on caffeine. So anyways, I come to that spot, I ate a 3/4 sandwich, and I went from, I'm falling asleep a mile out in the bay to I'm drinking this cold brew coffee, and life is coming back.
Yep. Again, rejuvenated.
And I don't want to stop because I know if I stop now, he's going to get another. So if I sleep for 2 hours, he can get 10 miles on me.
Sure.
Well, if he already has 12 and he gets another 10,
Yeah,
or he's got 12 and comes to a stop somewhere up there, and now he's maybe got 15. He knows I'm stopped because we have a tracker on us, right? It's always the eye in the sky. He can sleep for 2.5 hours, let's say, safely.
Yep.
Then he can get back in his boat and go. Well, so by the time I get to that 15 miles, right, he's fresher than I am.
Yep.
So there's this game you're playing the whole time. It's a dangerous game. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But there's also the problem of being front the whole time. You're being chased.
Sure.
It really has an effect on your brain. Because he went through HE double hockey sticks at the end also, just like I did. He just was able to overcome it, and I wasn't. So as I leave, I have 15 miles to get to I-10. Once you get to I-10, and this is all on an incoming tide. He's experienced the same thing. We're getting hammered on. It's a strong incoming tide. This isn't Honeyman Island incoming tide. This is Mobile Bay. It's strong. So, I remember getting to some sections where I'm paddling at Surski and I'm paddling hard. I'm looking at the reeds next to me. They're barely moving. Like, I'm thinking, man, how much current is truly coming in? But he's dealing with it too. So I'm not bothered by it. I'm just like,
it's what it is.
Let's go. This is racing. So that's the beauty of ultra distance racing. Ultra paddling.
There you go. I wasn't going to correct you.
Whatever you're going through, they're going through.
Yep.
Unless there's just this massive gap.
Massive, sure.
Yeah. I mean, there could be getting downpoured over here where you're not getting anything here, So when I got to I-10, there's 2 bridges where I-10 is, and that's when the hallucinations started kicking in, and it was heavy. Just a really intense experience going under I-10. I can't really explain it, but it was intense. And I was really happy to leave that bridge. It's just chaos. There's thousands of vehicles going over it. And it just my brain just overloaded. I remember getting to that bridge and I started going to pass out again. I started to pass out the coffee happened off. I just paddled 15 miles. It's 2.5, 3 hours.
Yep. Subway sandwich calories are gone. Caffeine's gone.
Yeah, not to mention been depleted. We all are. Sure. Everybody's experiencing this. So from there, for the next maybe 6 miles, there's no land. You have to stay out in the bay and then come way in to the beach. Well, I knew I was falling asleep. I just needed a 30-minute reset. Yeah. So there's these big cypress trees out in the water, and there's 100 birds in this thing, just 100. Gosh, I feel so bad. I went to paddle to one of them. I can't wake up. They're all sleeping. All these birds are sleeping.
I don't want to wake the birds.
Can't wake the birds. Yeah. So we try to find it, but I'm falling asleep. Well, not to mention, there's no land. It's just water. There's these cypress stumps. My plan is I'm just gonna paddle my boat and
just kind of
wedge myself inside the cypress knees, right? So the second one comes up, and between that one and the first one, I didn't see anything. So I said, you know what? Sorry, birds. Maybe you guys can come back after I'm done. They'll fly in a circle, come back.
Sure.
So I ran my boat, and 100 birds come flying out. They're squawking and stuff, and somehow I was able to wedge my surf ski in perfectly. Perfectly. I was locked in, and you're not going to get sleep, but at least it got a little, all the birds left. They never came back. I took my spotlight. I got a 100,000 watt or candle power light, and I shine it straight up into the tree. So I didn't want them coming back.
Sure.
The birds stink, first of all. I don't know, poop on me. So I try to fall asleep, and the mosquitoes come, and I stayed there for 30 minutes. But man, I felt amazing after that 30 minutes. And I don't know if I may have passed out a couple times, because every time you go to pass out, you almost fall in the boat. But I felt great. So I start paddling again. By this time, the sun's starting to come up, and great, sun's coming up. Here we go. Good to rejuvenate. Now we're going on literally 2 days of not sleeping.
Yeah.
We're starting this is going to be a problem. Well, it's a full 24 hours. Maybe not 2 days. We're going on the second day, right? So But then before that, it's a day and a half, an hour and a half, 2 hours, an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's all accumulated.
Everybody in the front pack. That's what we're doing. So.
Sure.
So, anyways, start paddling and start seeing some storms, and the bay starts picking up, and now I can start like catching waves, and like, this is great. You know, I'm really good at riding waves, so I'm starting to use these things to my advantage. And there's a point that comes out off the coast of the east coast of Mobile Bay. Of course, there's a name for the point, but I don't know what it is. Now, we used to have to come into the beach and then follow the beach and then come back out around the point, come back into the beach and stay no more than 100 yards off the beach. That was the rule.
Okay.
But this year, because you're starting like 6 miles out because it's all grasslands and shallows in here, so you can't come in.
Okay.
So now we're allowed to come 6 miles out instead of going straight to the beach. We can go straight to the point and cut off this time if you felt like it.
Sure.
Well, I felt like it. I'm like, well, I need to, you know? So, and I knew by this time he was only like 6 or 7 miles ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So I even closed the gap more.
Right. You got to keep moving.
Oh yeah, it's time. This is, and I'm doing the math in my head. You know, like, okay, if I keep this speed for this amount of time, I'm gonna beat him. Like, I got it. Like, I'm going to do this. And it's real rough waters, which I love. And I get to where the point is, and I come around the point, and then I'm starting to ride waves, and then I fall out. That's weird. I don't ever fall in my boat, so I'm like, whatever. You know, just a freak little wave, you know. But I get back in my boat, and I got to recover things, and I fall in my boat again. I'm like, ah, shit, okay, whatever. Get back in my boat. But I'm not saying whatever. Like, I'm like, well, you stupid. You know, I'm just getting pissed at myself.
Sure.
Right? You know, I haven't slept. I'm hungry. You know, the coffee's wore off. I'm trying to run this guy down. If I don't run this guy down, I'm going to lose. I don't want to lose. You know, it's the emotions of it are starting to catch up. You know, like it's this weight, and I'm like pissed. Get back on the boat, start paddling. I know I get to meet my crew one more time before the final finish. So, yeah. It was a real bad paddle up to that point. So I ended up getting to the crew, get some more stuff, and I don't know if that's actually what happened.
Well, is this when you kind of went into a marina?
It's not a marina. It's a park. No, that's further down.
That's further down.
That's further down. Yeah, this is before that. This is before. That whole section. That's like the last. Let's say the last 8 miles to 10 miles of that is before you get to CP3. That's where the marina is, right where CP3 is. So by the time I met my crew, and when I met my crew, they're like, Bobby, he's like, you got it, man. It's like, just go, you know. I get some more coffee. I think I had a couple bites of a sandwich, maybe. It wasn't much. Okay. Not enough.
Yeah, you're running on fumes.
I should have. That's the rookie mistakes. It's not I'm not like saying this is Trey won it hands down. Anybody who beats anybody wins them hands down in these races. This goes back to all of us can mess up, whether you're a veteran of the sport,
sure,
or the first timer, and you really have to stand on your game. Like, when I pulled in, I should have taken 10 minutes and slammed as much food as I could consume and as much fluids as I could consume.
Yeah.
Do everything. I remember them asking me, what gym fuel you want? And I said, give me the jet fuel. That was probably a massive mistake. I still had almost 30 miles to paddle. Or whatever, 26 to 30 miles to paddle. And that's a long paddle. It might not seem like it over 650 miles, but it is. You're still putting out a lot of energy. Not to mention, you're not just putting out energy, you're putting out a lot of emotion.
Sure.
Because you're trying to run a guy down.
Yep.
And
and the conditions are not good.
Yeah. So, I remember what happened. I went and I actually passed my crew. I didn't know I passed them.
Okay.
And I get a phone call, and before this phone call happened, I've fallen out of my boat like 5 or 6 times over and over and over again.
Okay.
So I am.
This is after the first 2 times.
Yes, I am freaking going mental on myself. Like, I am really pissed. But I'm not really sure what's going on. I knew I wasn't right. because I mean, I was losing it. Like if there was people like working on their houses and stuff at the dock, like thinking, what are these people?
Yeah, some guy's having a psychotic episode.
Oh yeah, complete meltdown. And I mean, it was like it's tears. It's crazy the emotions you go through over these races, which is also it's enjoyable too. It's neat to actually have these things come out of you because they don't. You don't experience this stuff in normal everyday life. It's hard. It's like
how many hours of therapy does it take somebody to? Yeah,
I don't know. Well, these are serious therapy sessions I'm going through.
Yeah,
it hasn't worked yet, but so anyways, yeah, my crew calls me and I'm like, what do you man? Like, they're like, Uncle Bobby looks to your left, you know. So he's like, we're right to your left. So they had to have been watching me. You know what I mean? Or maybe I was just behind the dock enough. I don't know. And I'm like, you want me to backtrack to get to you? Like, if you don't backtrack, I'm like, there's another. He's like, there's no other stops. You got to come to us. So I'm like, I'll be right there. And by this time, I am so pissed. Like, I'm like, I get there, and like, I'm just like, oh man. I couldn't speak, man. I was like, I remember asking for the jet fuel and God, stupid mistakes.
Because you're over 600 miles at this point.
Yeah, we're aware. We're getting close to like it's probably like 622. It's right around 26 to 30 miles left in the race. All I gotta do is paddle that short distance to get to CP3, and you have 18 miles left.
So at what point? So tell me about the point at which, because you're in your addled brain at that point, you're still trying to do that math to try to figure out, well, can I beat him? Can I beat him? Can I beat him?
Okay, up to that point, if you guys are watching on the thing, you guys are still in the belief that I'm going to be close. Because I'm still consistently moving. I might have been falling on the boat, but it doesn't take me that long to get back in my boat.
Sure.
Get
the
going.
little dots moving on down the map.
You know what I mean? I'm still moving. And it's hard for you guys to tell that I'm falling on the boat for sure. So after I leave them, that's where it all ends. I went wide open. You know, just ripping. You know, I say wide open. I'm only doing like 6.3 miles an hour, but I'm moving.
Yeah,
right?
You're right.
And I'm putting a lot of energy out. Probably massive mistake. I should have went right at like 5.3 miles an hour, 5.5, and just been consistent. You know.
Sure.
But I had all this emotion inside me, and I'm like, you know, like I have these talks, these motivational talks to myself, like, I got this, and I'm going to win this freaking race. I see myself winning the race. It's
Sure.
right in front of me. I see myself getting to the finish line. I've been there so many times. I knew what the finish line of the Alabama 650 looked like if I even got there the first time I won it. When I went around the corner, it was no surprise to me what it looked like. I don't know if I somehow saw on a map. I don't know what I knew it looked like. I mean, I envisioned these things. Like I envisioned the people being there. Like I'm gonna win. Like I'm gonna do it. And then all of a sudden, 6.3, 6.5, dead stops.
Yep.
That was it. I couldn't move. It was like I truly could not. No matter how hard I tried, my body would not do it, and it was absolutely. That's when I truly lost it.
Well, but so obviously you recovered from that.
So I slowly paddle, fall in a boat, slowly paddle, fall in a boat. It's happened so many times.
Okay.
Finally get to CP3, and I'm just sitting there at CP3. You know, I've talked to my wife. She's like, you know, they're all like, "You go, you got this. He's not going anywhere." My brother's like, "Go." I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I got 18 miles to paddle. It took me forever to get 2 miles.
Right.
Like my body, something is wrong with me. Like they're on the phone, like I'm like, you guys are just not listening to me, man. Like I want to, I truly do. I want to go. I want to win the race. Something's wrong. So, anyways, as I'm talking to my brother, I called my ground crew. I said, "You guys got to get to me now. Like,
I'm not coming to you. You got to come to me."
Like, I meet me. You guys, you know, they had to go through the security gate with another car. Like, you're not supposed to be in there to get into this marina. Just whatever. So, anyways, I call my nephews. Tell them to meet me. They're like, "What? Like, what do you mean? You're supposed, they're thinking they're going home, they take a shower, they're going to be at the finish line soon, you know? And I said, I can't do it. I can't paddle anymore. Right? Something's wrong. So, like, we'll be right there. So, anyways, my brother calls, or I get on the phone with him, and I'm paddling along this beach in this really calm canal, and there's this big boat coming out. Not even. I'm just not there, man. Big wave coming to me. I'm talking to my brother, and I'm already upset, but I've calmed myself down pretty good. And the wave picks me up and just...
You just body slam.
Oh, I jump out of the boat, man, as the boat gets obliterated to the beach, man.
Oh,
Stuff goes everywhere. I'm still talking. I chuck my phone into the woods, like he's still talking as I'm thrusting the phone, and I just go berserk all over again. I finally calm myself down. I'm so like, are you freaking kidding me? After all this, I let a wave throw me up on the beach and like break my stuff. Like, I punctured a hole in my boat. Like, it was just stupidity, you know. Like, funny thing was, that was probably I think one of the best things that happened.
Okay.
Like I went over and my brother, he's like, Bobby, you still there? And I picked my phone up, you know, out of the sand and stuff. It was just comical. My phone laying on these reeds, or these, you know, seagrass and or seals over there. And he's still talking and like, yeah, you know, of course I wasn't done just yet, but pack all stuff. I said, I'm going to load my boat up in the truck, man. I don't even care anymore. Like, you're not going to load that boat up in the truck? And I'm sitting there for a second thinking, yeah, I'm not going to load my boat up in the truck. Like,
yeah, it's just,
it's just,
you feel like
I just wanted, you know, finally calm myself down. Like, finally just say it out loud. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, there's no way I'm winning the race. There's just no way. And Sally's coming too. Remember that.
I remember the dots.
We're still racing. You know what I mean? And, you know, God forbid, you know, I get beat by Trey, Sally, and these, you know, Sally, you know, I remember talking to like my brother, like when I was in that 12 months, he's like, what are you doing? He's like, you will lose all respect in racing if you let these people beat you. I said, how? I've been racing for 7 years. I've been winning. I lose one race and all respect because I've been winning. He goes, yeah. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, whatever. There's no way. Like, I've done too many things. Not one race. So anyway, so me and my crew, and they're like loading the boat up and getting my 18X down.
Okay.
I say I can't stay in my surf ski. I just keep falling out of it.
Yep.
My 18X is a Cadillac. I'm not gonna fall in my 18X. I've never fallen in my entire life. Like, put that thing in the water. So I'm eating a sandwich. Got the sandwich down and drinking some freaking coconut drink. It was delicious. And by the time I finished the sandwich and I'm drinking this drink, I remember they're just talking and they're getting the boat ready, because they're getting ready for nighttime too. So I'm probably gonna finish tonight. I said, "Let's go," and they're like, "Whoa, what? You went from you're done with this race to let's go?" Like, okay. I just got back. It was the easiest 18 miles I ever paddled in my entire life. It was like nothing. I'm telling you, it was like nothing. I mean, it was the smoothest, easiest. I got music on, relaxing. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for Sally to come up. You know, why not finish the last and final together?
I think we're sitting here.
You know, I knew she was close, and I'm looking, I'm scanning. She's so hard to see out there. I finally see her, and you know, we come together, and it was nice. I hadn't paddled there the whole time, so we started paddling with each other and just talking, shooting stuff about the race, but she's not going like really fast. Her like shoulders really bothering her. She's like doing like 3 miles an hour. I picked her up a little bit by talking to her for a little bit, and finally she's like, "Why don't you go on, Bobby?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got too much energy right now." It's weird to go from that to this. You know, coming down here, this doesn't happen. I get to here, I eat a sandwich, and I drink some coffee, or not coffee, but some coconut drink, and it's like,
Okay.
And that's why I've been so mad at myself.
How could I finish this strong and have had such a hard time?
Yeah, and I can't blame it on not training. I mean, obviously that probably has an effect, but I think it just goes down to nutrition. A stupid rookie mistake.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, because there seems to be a correlation with every time you've come back from the pain cave, it's been tied to Subway sandwich or
something,
coconut water, whatever it is.
Yeah, food has a massive effect on you. So does caffeine. I mean, I would have never beat Sally. It was like 3 years ago, I think. I want to say. Yeah, 3 years ago. I mean, she had me like 40 or 50 miles. She was crushing me. So I mean, I got it down. You know, I made her withered it down like 30 miles, and but by the time I got to that 30 miles, no, it was probably 40. Yeah, it was 40 miles. So, anyways, we had 40 miles left in the race. You know, whatever, she had 20 on me probably by that point in time. I don't know what it was, but so it was a massive gap. But coffee was what changed everything.
Sure.
And I mean everything.
Yeah, it's a miracle drink.
I went from like my crew, which never tells me to like go to sleep. They're like, you need to lay down. You look really bad. I said, if I don't keep going, it's not just Sally was in front of me. Holly and Molly were in front of me too in a tandem. They were making their run, and I said, if I stop, the longer I stop, they're gone. And my wife flies in and went to Starbucks and got this insanely strong drink, and I remember just going from, you know, I got no blood on my face. I'm done. My wife thinks I'm like on death's doorstep, and I started drinking this thing. And it was like, as it was going down, I was hitting my toes, and then this energy was just coming up. And I remember my brother's, I gotta go to the bathroom, you know, and we're walking to the restroom. He's like, I'm gonna walk with you. And he's so good at keeping me going. I mean, I would have never won almost any of these races except for him.
Okay.
He is I can tell myself everything that I need to tell myself.
Sure.
But I get on the phone with him. He tells me everything I've already told myself, but he says it to me some other way or the same way. I don't know what it is.
Sure. It
unlocks something inside of me. By the time I get off the phone with him, I'm gone. So anyways, he's motivational speaking to me. He's just, we're walking to the bathroom. I looked at him, I go, you don't say anything. Like that coffee. I'm like, they're done. I was doing like 12 miles an hour after that. I was down, dude.
Yeah,
you know,
on fire.
12 miles an hour.
Coffee fueled fire.
That was amazing.
So, okay, so you said this year's 650 was going to be your last 650. I mean, you don't have to commit right now, but are you done with that race? Do you still have
more
to prove out there?
Air quotes earlier, last Alabama 650.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two things. I mean, obviously, losing my last year has had a major effect on me. So I do not like losing. Mm-hmm. Even if I like the person I lost to, Trey Reaves. I mean, he's a great dude, and he deserved it. He ran a good race. Do I think I can? I'm just saying this a lot. Do I think I can beat him? Yeah, Trey. So you know, the problem with these races it's the people. It's the experiences that you're going through. It's the testing yourself. It's addicting, I guess. I don't really like that word addicting, but it entices me. It wants me. It makes me want to be. I want to.
You really enjoy the whole experience.
You know, and I don't know what I experience more. I mean, it all depends on sometimes like it's the people, sometimes like it's the scenery. So, I mean, it's all tied together in some different way. But you know, I think I need it. I think it really is what it boils down to. I need the challenge in my life because if I don't do this kind of stuff, I don't know what else I would actually end up doing. I'm sure it'd be bad. Like I'm already pretty much a degenerate when it comes to taking care of myself. I might look like a healthy person. I love to eat bad things. I love to drink stuff. I just like to do things I probably shouldn't be doing. Sure. And the problem with doing a lot of stuff is it makes you lazy in other areas too, like training. But also, as my wife says, I'm either all or nothing. But that's with everything. You know, it's like I'm either all into training or I'm not all into training, or I'm all into eating or not all into eating. Right. I can go. I swing wildly. You know what I mean? So it's a really good thing that I found this sport. So I mean, I'd probably be 300 pounds, 350.
And on a dozen medications or whatever else, but
Maybe.
Yeah.
I was thinking a dozen donuts.
a dozen donuts. Yeah, always before the meds. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you do it again.
I can't see
Just
myself
from a
not doing it again.
spectator's
But
standpoint.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
commit to it. There's
See what happens.
there's so many things in life though, other than this. So many things.
Yep.
And it's not like I have to do every race. I could just do a couple races. But, I told myself last year or the year before this year, last year, I'm gonna not do as many races. I've done more this year than I've ever done. Probably times 2. So I stepped it up.
Yep. Well, congratulations on your finish. I know you're not as happy with it as maybe you want to be.
When you're the first person to lose, it's not a. Yeah.
I get it, but
It's not about finishing these races anymore for me. I know I can do it. It's about how fast I can do it and who I'm beating.
sure.
It's all about how can I be the fastest overall. Period. It doesn't matter if it's a 2-person, 3-person. I want to be the first one on the beach. That's all I want to be, and that's the challenge of it. And so and there's a lot of other people like that. We're past the distance. Even though the distance affects you obviously in a major way.
Sure.
Because every time you change the distance, you have to change your strategy. So it's just it.
Well, all right.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
Well, thank you. This has been great. And, see what happens with next year's 650. Otherwise, you have Last Paddler Standing coming up in just a couple short weeks. Everglades Challenge again.
Oh, yeah. Everglades Challenge every year.
Okay.
This will be the 8th year.
Okay.
And I might be doing it with Patrick this year.
Okay.
So we've talked about it. I think we're going to do it. I know Trey Reaves is going to be doing the Everglades Challenge, so it's really hard not to go race him.
Well, he's also going to be doing Last Paddler Standing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's
such an interesting format, though.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, we'll have to do another one of these talks after that.
sounds good.
All right.